Welcome to Central News. I'm Hilary Entwistle. In today's news, Summer in Garden Place is coming to an end with a big finale planned for this Saturday evening. The event will include live entertainment, glow sticks, glow-in-the-dark face paint, food stalls and arts and crafts market. Hamilton City Council's Garden Place advisor Rangi Poor says it will be a huge event to celebrate the summer in Garden Place.
With jam-packed live stage entertainment and carnival rides, carnival activities, carnival games, markets, craft stores, food, coffee, all of that.
Hamilton Girls High School and the Waikato Museum have come together to hold an exhibition that celebrates the growing diversity of culture in the city. The photography exhibition, named Family, Food, Faith, is a photojournalism look into the lives of Year 9 to Year 13 students from July 2010 to February 2011. The high school's photography head teacher Nellie Wallace-Ward says the students are very thankful that the exhibition has given them an opportunity to show their work to the public.
For many of the students, it put them outside of their comfort zone. They'd volunteered to do the project and they hadn't quite realised what it involved once they signed up, and suddenly they found themselves taking photographs which are very personal to them, and actually then learning how to edit them and put them on display, and it was a real learning curve for them, and they really enjoyed that experience of having the opportunity to do something they wouldn't necessarily have done if I hadn't have done the project.
Bay Plenty residents and visitors are being reminded not to consume shellfish gathered on bay beaches because of the risk of paralytic shellfish toxin poisoning. Medical Officer of Health Dr Neil DeWitt says levels of toxin found in shellfish along parts of the Bay Plenty coastline remain high. The current health warning has been in place since August 2012. Neil is urging people not to collect shellfish from Tairua on the east coast of the Coromandel Peninsula, south to Waihi Beach and along the Bay Plenty coast to Whakatane Heads in the eastern Bay Plenty. Telecom launched its next generation ultra fibre broadband package in the effort to provide an enhanced online experience yesterday. The country's largest internet provider is the first telecommunications company to introduce the service in New Zealand, aiming to ensure 75% of Kiwis have access to UFB in their homes, schools and small businesses by 2020. The national rollout is a government-led initiative with 4 UFB partners, Enable, Chorus, North Power and Ultrafast Fibre Limited, currently installing fibre optical cabling across the country. Telecom Retail Chief Executive Chris Quinn says it is appropriate to have national pricing within reach of customers by creating simple, competitively priced plans based on a choice. Now for our region's weather. Hamilton, your Friday will have long, fine sunny spells and a light wind. Your expected high is 23 and an overnight low of 11. Tauranga, your Friday is very similar, long, fine sunny spells and light winds. Your expected high is 21 and an overnight low of 15. Just ahead, what's happening at the Jazz Festival. Welcome to Central News on TV Central. The 51st National Jazz Festival is on this Easter weekend in Tauranga, so I caught up with the festival director to find out what some of the entertainment is.
The Jazz Festival is based here in Tauranga every Easter, and it has been for the past 51 years, so this is our 51st anniversary. It's a national jazz festival and it's one of the biggest, most iconic events in the Southern Hemisphere. I think we're the 3rd oldest jazz festival in the whole world, so that's very special. It was started 51 years ago. It's run by the Tauranga Jazz Society, so they started it 51 years ago, and it was I think the first festival. They used to have it over at the race course, and then it was down by Memorial Park. It's been kind of all over the place, and now we obviously have it in various locations in the CBD, downtown, here at the Historic Village and at Bay Court Theatre. So we've had various other things like boats and trains and all sorts of other things happening. So every year it's slightly different. So yeah, it's definitely a very historical event that happens every Easter.
Who will be playing at Bay Court?
So the backing band is Dr Roger Fox, and his band. They're all from Wellington, so really excited about the gala. And then we've got in a jazz cafe the same evening, the Thursday the 28th, we've got Adams and Gavin. They're more like acoustic style, violin and guitar. Really awesome show that will be. So that's on Thursday. There's so much happening. I'll try and kind of whiz through. Friday we've got the youth competitions running at Bay Court again. National competitions, about 250 kids coming from all over the country, and they obviously just take part in the competitions, and we'll announce the winners, and it's all very exciting.
So will the Strand be closed to traffic to have that usual carnival atmosphere that it has?
Definitely. So the Strand will be closed from 5 a.m. on Saturday morning, and that gets us ready for the Downtown Carnival. The bands kick off at 12, and then we just constantly have the carnival happening from 12 through to 8 p.m. at night. There's on Saturday there is the family fun zone on the waterfront. So there'll be bouncy castles and all sorts of children's activities on the waterfront. So that's really exciting. We've got street performers. We've got the vintage car parade that starts at 10 o'clock. And they start actually from their club rooms, go down Cameron Road, and then they just go through the carnival, and then they finish up in Willow Street. So that's amazing, the vintage car parade. It's very exciting. So we've got some awesome bands playing in the Downtown Carnival. We've got Brillo, Hipstermatic, Spiral, Juice on the Loose, all sorts. We've probably got about 20 bands playing over the weekend. So that's Saturday and Sunday, the Downtown Carnival.
Can you tell us about some of the headlining acts?
Sure. I guess our biggest headline act is Nathan Haynes this year. So he's performing on the Saturday at Bay Court Theatre, and he's doing songs from his album. He's just released a new album, but he's doing songs from his latest album, The Poet's Embrace. So that's very special, and that's actually been nominated for the TUI Award. So it's going to be an awesome night. I think we're all really excited to listen to Nathan Haynes.
Now tell us about the big band night.
Sure, the big band night is on Friday night. Big band nights are always on Friday night in lots of different jazz festivals. So it's nice that we've got an awesome lineup this year. We've got the very amazing New Zealand Army Band first up on stage. So that's Friday night at Bay Court, and then they're followed by the Tauranga Big Band. So we've got two big bands on one night, and they're doing a combined show. So that's almost sold out actually. So that'll be awesome.
And we can hear some Ella.
Yeah, Ella Fitzgerald is on Sunday night. The gorgeous Janine Bailey from Christchurch is coming up to perform. We're really privileged. She's sold out at the Nelson Jazz Festival and at Christchurch and all over the place, and just had rave reviews, just fantastic. So apparently she's one of the best Ella Fitzgerald tributes around, so that's very exciting.
Tell us about the youth competition.
The youth competition, I think it's the 36th year that we've held the national youth competitions here in Tauranga as part of the festival. So we've got probably about 250 children that are participating from all over the country. So lots of the participants are travelling from Wellington and Huntly and Auckland, different places around the country. So that's really cool. So they've been rehearsing like mad this past 6 to 8 weeks of term, and then they come and present their pieces to the judges. It's open to the public to come and buy a ticket to watch. It's actually a really good day, a couple of days of entertainment really, because the children are just phenomenal what they produce. So the youth competitions really start, they start on Friday, and we've got big bands, and then Saturday we've got combos, and it really is people like Nathan Haynes and Holly Smith and Charmaine Ford, Tama Waipara. They've all come through this national youth competition, so we really do see the kind of stars of tomorrow. So we're very privileged to be able to hold the competitions as part of the festival. It's very exciting for us, and we have workshops going on over the weekend for the participants, and we also give them extra performance opportunities in the Downtown Carnival and the Jazz Village as well.
Visit jazz.org.nz to view the timetable and information for all things Jazz Festival. Coming up next, we speak to a local author. Welcome back. Well, it's nearing the end of New Zealand Book Month, and we have a goodie tonight. The author of How to Train Your Barking, Howling, Jumping Up, Pulling on the Lead and Won't Come When It's Called Dog.
Oh, the how to train your barking, howling, jumping up, pulling in the lead and won't come when it's called dog. It's all the things that people ring me up about, and that's how come I called it that.
And why did you want to write a book?
I think there's lacking a Kiwi market. Like, this is one of the first New Zealand sort of Kiwi, book for Kiwi people with Kiwi dogs. And it's so that people can have a simple, easy way to change the behaviour of their dog. I mean, you look at one of the main things in the book. It says don't talk to your dog when you come home for the first 10 minutes. Most people go, I can't do that, that's so mean, my dog's so cute, and it's lovely. But to be honest, if you just don't talk to your dog for the first 10 minutes and then it's calm, then it's time to give it some affection. And you can still love it, but give it time to calm down first. Don't give your dog lots of love when it's like, whoa, when you come home.
Is that reinforcing that behaviour?
Well, let's go towards the whole thing. It's all about leadership, I'm afraid. Dogs want a leader, not a lover. Want someone who's going to just go, do this, come here, sit down, stay. They don't want to go, do you want to come to mummy now and sit down? Dog's like, my God, my owner's crazy.
So how did you find the writing process?
It just sort of happened. I just got to this point where it was too much inside my head and I had to just write it down. Well, there's a lot of stuff going on in there. So as soon as I started writing it, it was just those few points I wanted to let people know, about treats and about rewards and about not talking to your dog when you come home. And there's a little tiny bit about kids in the back. There's a lot of problem with children and dogs. Dogs are often nibbling on their owners' children. So you need that sort of balance, balance everything out. Balance your love, balance your leadership.
How long did it take you to write the book?
About a month, but then it was sort of already written in my head. Time to come out.
And how did you find the publishing process?
Well, I self-published it because it's quite hard to get into that market of, and you send it off to the editor and it ends up in the slush pile and it's never looked at, or it's not good enough, or it's not the right place, the right time. It's sort of not like the Hobbit book. So I just decided to self-publish, and I've published with Ocean Books, for writers by writers. Ocean Books is a self-publishing genre for people to go for, and it's just been a great process, easy and simple.
Now, you take classes as well as writing books. Tell us about your classes.
Well, classes is where people might have a one-on-one first at home, and maybe a follow-up, and then I say, well, you need to come to a few classes, because that irons out the all dog-on-dog type stuff. Because when you're at home training a dog, people are like, oh, my dog's so good at home. You take it to the park and it's a raving maniac because, it hates other dogs, or it hates people or kids on bikes or skateboards or whatever it dreams up, and it's rah-rah-rah and bark and lunge or snap bite as the other dog and person walks past, and the owner's like, embarrassed, and they feel bad about it. I mean, if your kids did that when they're in the park, you'd feel embarrassed, but you shouldn't really feel embarrassed about your dog. It's just being a dog. So classes iron out those problems. You come along for 6 weeks and you do a whole lot of walking past other dogs, and you do all your sit-down stays and things like that. But I mean, your local dog club is just as good for that sort of stuff, especially your obedience. But I tend to deal with dogs that are, snappy, bitey, horrible, unsocial, those sorts of things. We call our class diverse dog. And that's because we have very little to quite big, old to young, and it's really good because other dogs watch other dogs to see what you're supposed to do. It's sort of like social behaviour. You teach your kids, hopefully, to use their knife and fork and say hello when people arrive, and would you like a seat and would you like a glass of water. We're sort of teaching dogs those sorts of manners. It's walk past nicely, don't bite, don't snap, Like I was with a lady not long ago and she said, I can't enjoy the walk, my dog's looking for cats. Unusual. So what we did was, as I took the dog for a walk with her, I realised that the dog's actually scanning the driveways. So it's not just looking for cats, it's looking down every single driveway. Of course, cats is the motivation. And so all I did was stop it from looking down driveways. And of course, we minimised the cat problem, and it started looking at the owner, going, aha, you're there. I wondered who was on the end of the lead. And so with that, she can start then training about cats. But yeah, it was scanning. It's like, no cat down there, No cat down there, so stop it looking down the driveway, that might help.
So what are some of the cliche dog myths that are out there?
Myths. Don't get me started. The main problem I deal with people is that they love their dog. And I know I'm going to get a little bit of flack about this, but people do love their dogs, and there's nothing wrong with you loving your dog. The problem is you love it to the point where it goes a little crazy and you're not really sort of balancing your love and leadership. Let's look at the balance of love and leadership, and then you'll understand about the love thing. You're allowed to love your dog, good point. But when do you love your dog so you don't drive it nuts and you humanise it? Once you humanise your dog goes, well, you go, you know, Poppy, come, and Poppy goes, I don't think so, don't I sleep with you at home? Who the heck are you? And you're thinking, oh, I love my dog so much, but it doesn't recall or doesn't come when I call. Well, it's probably because you come home, you greet it as soon as you hit the doorstep, pick it up, if it's small enough, of course, you don't want to be picking up your German Shepherd, and you give it a cuddle and you go, hello, Poppy, and how are you, and did you have a nice day? And the dog goes, oh, yes, you're not a leader. So there's no love balance. If you come home, give your dog 10 minutes to calm down, then say hello and give it a pat and a tummy rub and that, your dog's more likely to respect you. Only a small shift. It's even allowed on the couch, but as long as you invite it up, never allowed to get on by itself.
Visit thedogtrainer.co.nz if you're in need of some expert dog training. Just ahead, a uni student and Kempo. If you have just joined us, welcome to Central News. One Waikato University student has a world title in his sights for his sport, Kempo Karate. Ben Good tells us more.
I'm currently working towards a Bachelor of Social Sciences, a double major in Economics and Political Science.
Tell me, what exactly is Kempo Karate?
Well, first and foremost, it's a self-defense art. That's its main sort of principles. In terms of the sporting side to it, the competition side, it used to be based on the single point sparring, which is, you know, two opponents looking to get one shot and then they'll sort of retreat to their corners, but they sort of decided that wasn't really practical enough, and so they've changed it now, and it's working with a continuous point sparring, which is basically just timed rounds to opponents going at each other, and there's a few ways you can win, obviously through points or submission, which is your opponent tapping out, or ultimately with a knockout.
How did your interest in the sport begin?
It all started with a good friend of mine, Cameron Robinson, who got me into it because his dad, who is now my coach, he had a club back home in Cambridge, and Cam just said one time, you know, you want to come along, give it a go, and I thought, yeah, why not, it'll be good. And well, obviously it worked, I'm hooked, and it's here now.
What do you enjoy about this sport?
I think it was something different. It provided me with something different to my usual sports. You know, growing up, I did a lot of any sport I could get my hands on, really. And Kempo, I found it was just so intriguing how different it was to the sports I'd done before, and it was more personal for me. It was yeah, I think that was the main reason, just the general intriguingness that I had when I found it.
What challenges have you faced in training?
Well, luckily I haven't had any major injuries, touch wood, but I think the main challenge for me, well, I just got a recent year out, a bit of a gap year, and unfortunately I couldn't train very much while I was away. Sort of the nearest club was, you know, it was a 2-hour train ride away, which is a bit too far, and I was working, so that set me back a year. But I mean, luckily I've come back and I have picked it up where I left off, and it hasn't been as bad as I thought, but that's probably been the main significant challenge I've faced.
What are your recent achievements?
Well, the first off, when I got back, my goal was to make it into the NZ squad, make it back in, take up my place, and I just found out a few weeks ago that I've managed to do that, so that's quite exciting. The team's going to Vegas in June, end of June, beginning of July, so that's going to be something that's going to be very interesting. So making it into that squad is probably my recent achievement here.
So is that the World Champs at Vegas?
It is. There is the World Fighting Champs with Kempo. There's also a big seminar, so people come from all over the world, from different backgrounds in the sport and different sort of martial arts, and it's just a massive gathering, and yeah, it just sounds awesome.
What are your current goals?
Current goals? Well, obviously the Vegas trip is probably my main goal for this year, but sort of short-term goals, there's a seminar coming up at Lake Karapiro, and that's, for me, I think, going to be my next grading. Hopefully I'm going to put myself forward. I feel quite ready for that now. So I think that's going to be my short-term goal right now. Yeah.
So tell me about the Sir Edmund Hillary Scholarship that you have been awarded.
The scholarship is absolutely fantastic. What they do, they work on their three main pillars of the leadership, excellence in the sport or performing arts, and excellence in academia as well. So those are three key sort of aspects that they're really trying to push, and they do so well at it. They support you in everything you do. I can't speak highly enough of them. They've done so much for me already, and I feel as though I'm just sort of scraping the surface. I mean, I've been quite lucky with my older sister. She's on the program also, so I've been actually able to see, the benefits of the scholarship, through the years of her being in it, and it's just incredible.
What will the scholarship go towards?
Well, I get in terms of financial benefits also. They cover all my fees. We get conditioning, personal conditioning and training at the local gym here, and membership to that also. But apart from the financial side to it, just the support that they offer, and through leadership seminars, the people you can meet through this, it's just absolutely incredible. They really go out of their way to help you out.
How much training do you actually do?
Well, we have trainings 2 nights a week, Monday, Wednesday, but then in addition to that, with the NZ squad that I've made into, we do some trainings in the weekend. If I can't make it up to Auckland, which is where it's based, then I'll go with my coach and we'll run through some things whenever suits on a weekend. But yeah, every now and then we try to make up and go up to the main centre up in Auckland, because people come from all over. There's people from Taranaki that are in the squad as well, and Bay of Plenty and other things, so everyone comes together, and it's good to train as one. It makes things a lot better. You get to know everyone that's in the team.
So are you the equivalent of a black belt?
No, unfortunately, I am not black belt yet. If I didn't take my year out, I think this grading coming up would be my grading for my black belt. So I am what's known as a second Dan brown. This grading coming up now, hopefully I will get my third brown, and then after that is when I can go for my black belt. So 2 more gradings left, and hopefully we'll see.
So would you be able to battle Bruce Lee? Bruce
Lee? I'm not sure if I'd like to battle Bruce Lee. I'll give it a go, but I can see myself failing miserably. He's just a god, that guy. He's a bit incredible. I'll leave it to the experts. So what sparked your interest for the sport? I think the fact that Kempo is very different to any other sport that I'd done before, and it's more of a personal thing for me as well. Instead of being the usual sort of part of a team sport, this was something that I could pursue personally, and just held a lot more greater sort of value to it through that way. That is the news for today. We really want you to be involved, so like us on Facebook. Let us know your views. If you have news including your own video and photos, go to our website and hit upload. Thanks for joining us. I will be back tomorrow night with more guests from in and around the regions. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Have a lovely evening.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.